What if the first 5 years of compounding were designed to make you doubt yourself? You save faithfully, you automate the transfers, you skip small luxuries, you watch other people post their highlight reels, and then after 5 years you open your account and see a number that looks almost unchanged, and a voice inside says this is pointless. That voice is the trap. But it could also be the turning point, because here is when most investors quit. But if you continue for another few years, you will see results that feel unreal. And the big investors don't want you to know this, so stay until the end to find out how long it will take for you to see the first real results, and also try to guess in the comments. I'll like whoever guesses correctly. Start with the way your brain measures progress. We are trained to love straight lines, because in school and at work, you push and you see immediate movement. Compounding does not respect straight lines. It moves on a curve that is almost invisible when the base is small, because 10% of a small number is microscopic, and microscopic growth feels like no growth at all. You look at the chart, you glance at the left edge, and it seems flat. You do not feel the slope until the numbers have stacked on themselves for years. Your biology is biased towards short feedback loops, so the early curve insults your instincts, and insulted instincts try to change course. That is the first danger. There is a second reason the beginning feels like a joke, but I'm sure you'll recognise yourself even more in the third one. In years 1 through 5, most of the movement you see is your own contribution, not market return. It feels unfair because you want the system to carry you, yet you are the engine. You move cash, watch it grow by a sliver, and question the point. You are pouring concrete nobody sees. The foundation is hidden, but later the house stands on it. Many people quit here and call the project a myth. The project is real. Patience is the part they lacked. Third, the feedback loop is cruel at the start. No one claps for an automated transfer. There is no confetti for buying broad funds. There is no applause for refusing to sell during a dull year. The world notices purchases, not deposits, so you receive social rewards for the moves that drain your future, and silence for the choices that fund it. Brokers make money when you click. Commentators get attention when you react. Friends praise you for a trip, not for a transfer. All of this nudges you toward activity, and activity is the enemy of compounding. Compounding loves boredom. Markets will tempt you to trade the boring engine for a shiny shortcut. Take the engine, leave the shortcut. So when does it flip? Now we see it, but first you have to understand that if you have more to invest, your compounding will work sooner, and to have more money you can simply join my free Telegram community with the link in the description, where I will give you my step-by-step strategy on how to open a successful faceless YouTube channel. But I'll tell to you more about it later. The flip is the day the growth from returns becomes larger than the growth from contributions. It does not arrive at the same calendar date for everyone. It depends on your savings rate, your average return, your costs, your taxes, and how early you started. It also depends on how often you left the machine alone. But the flip does arrive, and when it does, the experience is almost eerie. 1 month, your reinvested dividends add more than your monthly deposit. The next year, your portfolio grows more from market movement than from everything you personally contributed. At that point, the machine has weight, and weight is what bends the curve. You feel it like a tailwind. You are still walking, but now the wind pushes your back. After the flip, your role changes, and this is where a little fear becomes useful. In the beginning, you are the engine and the driver and the mechanic. You are fueling the car and steering it and fixing it. In the middle, you are mostly steering and tuning. After the flip, you are primarily a protector. Your main job is to guard the process from the two forces that can still ruin it, which are panic and greed. Panic tells you to sell good assets when the headlines are loud. Greed tells you to chase shiny objects when the party is loud. Protection looks boring from the outside, but it is the highest form of skill, because it preserves the one thing you cannot reprint, which is time. Let us make fear your ally. Be a little scared of leverage that you do not fully understand, because it can turn ordinary volatility into personal catastrophe. Be a little scared of concentration you cannot afford, because single bets can derail decade plans. Be a little scared of your own impulses, because boredom and envy disguise themselves as rational strategy. But do not be scared of boredom itself. Boredom is where compounding breathes. Boredom is the sound of a system doing its work while you live your life. If you can learn to love that sound, the flip will arrive, and you will be there to meet it. So what exactly should you do in those first 5 years when everything looks slow? Make your money system so simple that your mood cannot damage it. Decide the percentage you will invest. Decide the date the transfer will trigger. Decide the diversified vehicles that match your risk. Write down the conditions under which you are allowed to make changes. Automate as much as possible so your feelings never get a vote. Measure once a month or even once a quarter and write a one-line note about what the world was screaming that month. Over time, you will own a diary of patience. Reading it will make you proud of the person who protected your future when it was fragile. Use games to stay engaged without being reckless. Ask how many months until your portfolio's annual return equals your grocery bill, then your rent, then your entire annual spending. Ask how close you are to the first 100,000, not because 100,000 is magic, but because the first 6 figures are the heaviest part of the lift, and once you cross that ridge, the curve starts to speak in thousands, even in average years. Make a rule that any extra income, any bonus, any freelance win gets split between joyful living and accelerated investing, so you enjoy today without stealing from tomorrow. Do not confuse slow with broken. Do not confuse quiet with empty. When you plant a tree, the first season shows nothing, then roots find water, then a trunk appears, then shade arrives in a place that used to burn your skin. The roots take the longest and nobody praises them. The first 5 years are the roots. If you stop watering because the surface looks dull, you will declare trees a scam and spend summers in heat that shade would have solved. Do not be that person. Water the soil, not your ego. Here is the part that should scare you enough to behave. If you quit at year 4.5, you do not lose 6 months. You lose the compounding scheduled for the next 20 years, on a base that would finally have been meaningful. You throw away the scene where the plot pays your patience back. You will watch other people who stayed look lucky, and you will tell yourself they had advantages you did not have, and you will avoid the simple truth that the only advantage they had was refusing to interrupt their own curve. The pain of starting over is not the worst part. The worst part is knowing you erased the very years that would have changed everything. Build boring rituals that make staying easy. Update your net worth on the same day each month. Read your written rules before you look at prices. Silence alerts that tempt you to tinker. Learn enough history to recognize that every terrifying headline shrinks when you zoom out. Improve your skills at work so your income grows, because the best fuel for the machine is money you do not need to spend to feel alive. Protect your sleep so you make patient decisions. Protect your environment so panic does not spread to you from people who are playing a different game. If you want one target that will change your psychology, chase the first 100,000. After that threshold, average returns speak in thousands even when your life feels ordinary, and the sound of those thousands will keep you disciplined when friends are chasing dopamine elsewhere. If you want one rule that will save you from yourself, make it this. Do not interrupt compounding, and do not let compounding interrupt your life. Automate so your best choices happen on schedule, and then live, because the point of all this is not to stare at charts, but to buy back years with quiet, repeatable actions. Maybe you think you are late. Maybe you think you do not earn enough. Maybe you think crashes will ruin everything. You are not late if you start now. But if you start tomorrow, yes, you will be late. The same principles apply if you want to open a business. You have to start now. Don't wait until someone goes ahead of you. So you have to open your YouTube channel now by joining my free Telegram community with the link in the description, because YouTube is literally blowing up any small faceless channel that does the thing right as we teach you. Don't wait to see someone else that opens his channel, and thanks to this he makes his compounding explode. Be that person. Join now before it's too late. If you found value here, smash the subscribe and like button and let me know how many years have you been starting compounding in the comments. and I'll see you soon in the Telegram community. I'll wait for you. Just a reminder, I'm not a financial advisor. This video is for educational purposes only, and any results depend on your own decisions and actions.